All right, and let me share my screen. PowerPoint.
So that's the first. We're gonna start with Python first.
Yes, yes. So this,
Okay.
oh, hello. What is going on? Why do I have that? Okay, never mind. Yes, so during this class, we're just gonna brush like really quickly over some languages
Mm-hmm.
because you have a whole class of Python and you will have a whole class of Java where you're gonna be just focusing, the whole class is gonna be just that one language. But to start off, we're just gonna learn the quick basics about Python. I think we go into Java also, but a little bit later, but it's mostly Python. Um, Okay, so before we go into Python, just a quick thing about documenting a program. Since you're going to be working with a lot of other people, you're not going to be the only one working on your code. Um, how it usually goes, you're just going to get a little like task to write either one function or write like a single method or a couple of them adding on top of someone else's work already. And because of that, we need to make sure that we document our code well as we write it. So if other person looks at it, they can figure out what's going on. That makes sense. So external documentation is basically everything that you will explain to the user about your code or about the program. It's something, external documentation is usually made for people who don't know much about coding. It's mostly going to be your clients. So you're just going to describe either in a document or in um, like a manual type of thing. That's external
Mm-hmm.
documentation. And internal documentation is comments inside of your code. So as you write your code, you're going to write some comments as what's going on, what you're doing, which functions are doing
Okay.
what exactly. That's internal documentation. And it depends on the language that you're working with. What kind of like how you're going to write your comments. So in Java, we use the double slash, or also in Java, you can use like this. If you're going to use multi-line comments, this is the start of your comment, then you're going to write something here, and then this is how you're going to close the comment. And in Python, it's just a hashtag sign, a hashtag, and you're going to write something here. And I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so Python. We're gonna go over a couple of things, but the main one that we need to know is the print function and how it works. Literally, if you want to print something to display on the screen, you're gonna use print. And you can either use a single quotations to put the text that you want to display, or you can use double quotations. And let me show you that.
Okay.
Okay, how do I screen sharing, new share? Mm. All right, let's go. Do you see this? What? Ah, beautiful. Okay. So if we want to print something like, if we want to display something like print, quotation marks, like hello, my name is Sonia.
Mm-hmm.
And then all you're going to do, click run, and this is what you're going to get. Hello, my name is Sonia, right? And if I'm going to use single quotations here, we're going to get the same result. Hello, my name is Sonia.
Okay.
It does not matter. So either single quotation or double quotations, but only in Python. You gotta remember only in Python. In Java, single quotations for characters, double quotations for everything else. For if you want to print more than one character, it's double quotations. If just one character, single quotations.
Okay.
Let's go back to the PowerPoint. Here. Okay. When it comes to variables and creating variables in Python, we do not need to explain what data type we want to use. So age, for example, they give us an example, age equals 25, and see title equals vice president. This is an integer. This is a variable that's been declared as an integer, and this is a
Mm-hmm.
string. And see, we don't use anything in front. We don't need to differentiate the two. So this is a very cool thing in Python. Again, not many languages do it, because in Java, let's go back to screen sharing right here. Okay. Let's declare assign a variable, for example, name equals Sonia, and then print name. It's gonna print my name. The same thing, you can do name equals, for example, a number, right? Like it's gonna print us a 25, because we assigned this variable to Sonia, and then we assigned this variable to 25. So it's gonna use the last assignment that you did.
Okay.
Remember the last thing that you assigned it to. It does not care what type of data you're providing to it. It does not matter. Okay. Yeah, see, you can pass multiple arguments to the print function, as I did just show you with the print that we printed name. And you can combine both the variable and just some sentence that you want to use. Let's here.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, let's get rid of this one because it doesn't make sense a name to be 25. So for example, if I want to print my name is Sonia, but I don't want to like type my name out, we have my name already is here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna open our quotations again because we're printing a string, we're printing a sentence. So we're gonna do my name, and then my name is English, and then the important part, you gotta put a comma. One thing that you have to do, you gotta put a comma if you want to put a variable, if you want to print a variable after a string. Okay, so my name is, and it should give us my name is Sonia. And if I want to add a period at the end, all I have to do is just add a period right here, again, with a comma. See, my name is Sonia, and we add a period at the end. Yeah, let me know if I'm going too fast. Okay. All right, so to get input from keyboard, to get input from the user, also very simple. You just use a word input. That's it. I'll show you how it works in Java because it's wild. It's crazy how Python is simple, the simplicity of Python. Okay, let's go back to, yeah, so all we have to do, you put a variable, right? Because we need to store our input somewhere. We can't just ask a user to put their input anywhere. The computer's just not going to save it. So we have to save it somewhere. So we're going to declare a variable, first name, then you put an equal sign, then the keyword input, you open your parentheses, and the same thing, you put quotation marks, the same as with print. Quotation marks, whatever prompt you want the user to see, whatever you want them to answer, and that's it. And let me demonstrate that in Python.
Okay.
So let's do first name equals input parentheses enter your name, and then we want to print it right after we're done. Print first name. Okay, so let's see, enter your name. I'm gonna put, so see how it's waiting for me, the blue line.
Yeah.
The blue line is moving. So the program is not going to move forward until the user gives input something. Give something.
Okay.
So it's not going to move to our next statement that we wrote. It's not going to move on to print until you provide input, until you answer the question, basically. And then we click enter, and then it just prints out my name again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's add, so we can differentiate the two. Let's add your name is, and then we close it. We put a comma, first name. See, enter your name, Sonia. Your name is Sonia. This was going to give us. Make sense? See at the
Mm-hmm.
end. All right. Ah, yeah, I wanted to show you how it looks in Java. One sec.
So
This
which
is
one is easier?
Python, definitely. This
Oh,
this is what it would look like in Java. This one statement, not even this one. This one statement, this is what you would have to do just to get it in Java.
oh,
And I
okay.
know it looks a little bit scary, but I promise you, and if you wanted to print something in Java, this is what you would do. System.out.print first name. So see a lot of things that Python just does not do.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, this
Yeah.
one line would take
Let's start off
you.
with Python.
That's why we start off with Python. Yes, indeed. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. Okay. Yeah, reading an integer, same thing, but with integers or anything else other than a string, we have to put the data type in front. And for integer, it's int. We're just going to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would like your user to put in a number, you have to tell the computer that the user is putting in a number. Because by default, it's just a string. The computer assumes that you're just putting on a sentence, that the user types in a sentence. So we have to tell the computer that no, this is a number. We want it to be a number. Yeah, and same thing with the print, with the comma, with the parentheses. It's not different. Okay, now to perform any calculations, it's the same thing as your basic
Oh,
algebra.
okay.
So yeah, this is plus and it is addition, minus subtraction, multiplication. The only difference, the only new thing that we have is a modulus. And I've talked about this in another lecture. Modulus just gives you a remainder. So if we have 5, for example, modulus 2, what it's going to do is going to find the closest number that divides 2 as a whole. So for us, it's 4, right? So 4 divides 2. And then what it's going to do, it's just going to take 5 minus 4. 5 minus 4 equals 1. And this is going to be your answer, 1. So modulus looks for the closest number that divides
Okay.
as a whole. Yeah. It was a little bit hard for me to understand at first, but then if you start thinking of it in steps, so find the closest number and then just take the difference between the two. And yeah, like leftover, like here, see they do 17 divided modulus 3. So the closest one that divides 3 is what is 15. So what we're going to do is 17 minus 15, and we're going to get 2. The answer is going to be 2. Make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't use it. I've never used it. I mean, I've used it like a couple of times for some of my programming assignments, but generally speaking, you don't see it often. But it's important to know, just in case you see it somewhere, you'll be like, oh, I know what that is. I know how to use it.
Yeah.
Let's see the next one.
Okay. Yeah. Now I got it. Okay.
Okay, document a program. Yeah, so in Python, this is a comment. This, just to put a comment out there, you just put a hashtag and then you type whatever, and the computer will look at it and it will recognize it as a comment and will not try to perform anything regarding that. It's just gonna skip it, basically.
Okay.
All right. This is okay. Designing your first program. I'm gonna go through this with you in Python. If you would like to follow me and open the Python compiler, I can share the link and we can go through it together. So we're gonna write our first.
Okay.
Let me share this in the chat.
Okay. How do let me see the options? Okay. Is it the link that you have for the homework?
Yes. I send it in the chat too, in Zoom.
Oh, I see it right there. Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
So you should be looking at something the same, at the same thing that I have right here, right?
Mhm.
All right, so let's get rid of it completely. Just delete everything that you see in front of you. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna calculate users' monthly wages after tax. So just to write a program that performs a little calculations for you. So before we begin, let's think, what do we need from the user? What would we need as an input from the user? What would we ask from them?
What must be like how much do you pay, right? All right.
Yeah. So we would have to ask what's their wage, hourly wage, right?
Okay.
And how many hours they worked in a month.
Okay.
And then we would have to figure out, let's pretend we're in Louisiana, right? State
Mhm.
tax. Let's calculate state tax, 0.11. I think that's our state tax, 0.11. So yeah, what we figured out what our input must be. Now we have to figure out what are we going to do with the input, what calculations we must perform. And when it comes to monthly wages, what we have to do is take the hourly wage multiplied by the number of hours they worked, and
Mhm.
then take the tax out, right?
Yeah.
And what we will do with the output, we're just going to display it on the screen for the user to see.
Okay.
See input received, hours worked in the month, hourly
Oh.
wage, tax percentage. Calculate how much money was earned in the months, and then divide that number by 100 and multiply by 100 minus tax percentage. Or any other, there's another way to do it. It's just math. It's not important for
Okay.
our program right now. And then just display user's monthly salary after tax. Okay, so let's do just that. Okay, so first of all, we need to ask the user for input, right? But we need to store it somewhere. So first of all, let's ask them for how many hours they worked. So let's do hours equals, and then since it's an input, we use a keyword input. Then we open our parentheses, and then we're gonna ask them how many hours you, oh, what happened there? How many hours you worked this month, right? How many hours you worked this month. Then we have to ask what their wage is. Oh, my bad. And we're using it as an integer, right? Because we need to perform calculations. So we need to tell the computer that this is going to be an integer. This is going to be a number that the
Okay.
user is going to input. Then we're going to ask for their wage. Same thing, integer. Then we're going to say input. What is your hourly wage? Or enter your hourly wage. It does not really matter. And since we know, let's say we're in Louisiana, so our tax is 0.11, and since it's not going to change, the tax will not change, we can make it a constant. And when we make a constant, we do not change it. The constant is a variable that cannot be changed. It can only be read. And that's why I put it in all caps, because that's how you declare a constant. And almost in any language, that's how you do it. You just put it in all uppercase letters. And let's do 0.11. It's going to be our tax. 0.11. Okay, so what we have so far is it's asking us how many hours you worked this month. Let's put, I don't know, let's put 100. What is your hourly wage? I don't know, let's put like $15 an hour. And this is what we have so far. So the computer takes the information from us. But now we need to perform some calculations and display the values that we want. So how we do that is, what I usually do is I create a new variable called salary. So we're going to calculate how much we earned before tax first. And how do we do that? We multiply hours by wage, right? Hours, simple hours, wage. Oh, my keyboard is bugging today. Hours, wage. And let's see what we have so far. Print your salary before tax is, and then we put a comma, remember, comma, separate the two, and salary. Following?
Mm-hmm.
All good? Okay. So if we run it, again, we have to put in our values, 115. Salary before tax is 1,500. This is what it's going to give us. See, it's printing it for us. But now we need to calculate how much it is after tax. That's our main goal, right? So we're going to create a new variable called salary. Let's call it salary after tax. It does not matter what you call it. You can call it just one letter for all I care. But it's important to make sure that you create variables that are, the names of the variables are easily understandable to people who will see your code for the first time, for people who you're working with, if they were to look at your code, so they can understand what the value is storing for you. So what we're doing, since we already have a variable that calculates right here, that calculates the salary for us, we'll use that same variable, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna divide salary minus salary multiplied by tax. Okay, so what this is gonna do for us is gonna calculate how much tax is taking out, and then we just take that part, how much tax we were giving to the government, and we taking it out of our full salary. And let's print it. Same thing. Your salary after tax is, and then important to use the right variables after tax. Okay. So let's do 120 and $13 per hour. Your salary before tax is 1,560. Your salary after tax is 1,388.4. And if you want to know how much tax you're paying, if you would like that, all you have to do is just print it out. So first of all, we have to declare another variable saying that tax, for example, tax paid, right, equals salary multiplied by tax. Same thing that we did here. Let's put it before. Tax paid and the amount of taxes you paid this month. And comma, salary, tax paid. See, I just almost used the wrong variable. Tax paid. So what will we have? 120, 13. See, salary before tax, 1,560. You paid $171 in tax, and your salary after tax is 1,388. And since we have a variable here that already does this calculation for us, see, same thing, redundancy, we can just get rid of this and use this variable instead. And now we don't have the redundancy in our code. And it's going to work the same way. 120, 13. See, same thing happened. We just don't have the same calculations. We're not doing the same calculations twice. And it's important to notice that whenever your code has redundancy, because the more complicated your code gets, the more time it takes for the computer to work through it and to process it. So the less calculations you have in your code, the less calculations that repeat themselves, the better it's going to get. It doesn't really matter time-wise in code like this, but once you start writing more complicated programs, it's gonna really matter. Once you start using algorithms and like sorting algorithms, especially when the time complexity comes into play, that's that's gonna matter. One time we had a programming assignment that took on my computer, it took like 35 minutes to process just for it to stop processing the code. It was crazy. It was crazy to wait that long.
Yeah, that is all.
Okay. Do I have anything else? All right. Yeah, the summary. Yeah, so input, well, when you design your program, 3 things you need to do. You need to figure out what we have to ask the user, then what we have to do with the information that we got from the user, and how do we want to display it back? What do we want to display to the user back?
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, I'm probably doing the homework, maybe. But I'm just, soaking everything
Okay.
in.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go over the lab. It's not that hard at all. It's just you will have to write 2 lines of code. See, right here,
Oh,
a
okay.
comment right here. It's just for you to get familiar and write something by yourself and just get a little bit more confidence, and because you can write code. Anyone can write code, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, so this lab is just for that. Yeah, so Johnny, final year computer science student, college. His computer teacher has asked him to write a program that will calculate the average number of wins for their football team over the past 5 years. So what you'll have to do, you'll just have to copy this code,
Mhm.
then paste it in here. Oh, that did not copy. Why did that not copy? Copy. Then we're gonna paste it in here, and you're gonna get rid of these lines
Okay.
here, and you're gonna write your code, and that's it. You
Okay.
just have to calculate the average of wins each year, and this is for a year. So first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. These are the amount of wins. You just need to take an average of that and display it to the user. Display
Okay.
it back on the computer. Yes. And what else? I posted chapter 2 quiz. And the attendance. But since you attended the lecture right now, you don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, go ahead. I give bonus points for that later if you need them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I had for today.
Okay.
Is everything going good so far? Nothing too complicated?
Yes, everything's going good. You see, I'm trying to do this, and then I have like this other little class that I'm doing too.
Okay.
So
Which class are you
right
doing?
here. Well, I'm learning JavaScript right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
JavaScript is a bit different. I would say
Mhm.
JavaScript, yeah, it's a little bit, it's the approach that people take when they learn JavaScript is a bit different because you don't really need to know the basics of programming exactly, of
Mhm.
object oriented. You just need to know certain things that a little bit different from object oriented programming, what we're trying to do here.
Mhm.
But yeah, let me stop the recording. How do I
I think it's just ending.
I'm still like getting familiar with